rise to propose a bill in which its long title is a bill for an act to provide for the media coverage of Nigerian court proceedings for the purpose of gathering and disseminating news to the public and for other related purposes connected therein. Mr. Speaker, I so vote.
The coverage of the Nigerian courts bill is our focus on this episode of Law Weekly. On Wednesday the 25th, the bill passed second reading at the House of Assembly. On this episode of the program, we serve you the interesting debates that followed the proposal of the bill, its objectives, and some of the early reactions trailing it. We also have our usual recap of the top trending stories from the courtrooms. Hello and welcome to the program. I am Shola Shuyeli. The coverage of the Nigerian Courts Bill 2016, sponsored by Honorable Daniel Oyeneju, seeks to provide for media coverage of judicial proceedings in all courts of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Against the background of heightened public interest in the justice system, especially on criminal cases of national and public importance, the sponsor of the bill believes, among other things, that opening up the courts to allow live coverage of proceedings will repose the people's confidence in the judicial system as the last hope of the common man. He also says that by enacting this bill, Nigeria will be joining other developed countries that have opened the doors of their courts for media coverage of judicial proceedings.
It is common knowledge that our own activities has educated the public to a large extent that at some point when we get to our constituents, they engage us on our own terminology when we say we stand up here, Mr. Speaker, to represent the good, the bad, the ugly. They learned all of that and all of those parliamentary terminologies from the fact that the parliament is open to the public. And Mr. Speaker, at all times, the parliament is also trying as much as it could to even have its own online streaming TV that could actually disseminate information, educate Nigerians to the extent of getting so used to the parliament and its terminologies and its workability. Mr. Speaker, I could remember when we have the issue of Oscar Pistorius of South Africa. Some of us here do wake up midnights to actually want to see what was going on, the proceedings. And it was quite interesting. We never need to be told. Nobody needs to come and tell us this was what the lawyers did and this was what the judge did. And by so doing, we had very transparent, open, and standard way of actually passing information to the public. And Mr. Speaker, because this bill is so straightforward in the sense that what we seek to actually extract from the judiciary or what we seek to contribute to the building of our democracy through the judicial openness is just to allow the media to also cover the judiciary proceedings whenever such proceedings are on.
After making a speech, some members got up to support the bill.
Recently, we had the problems between the security services, the DSS or SSS, and judges. And there was a lot of confusion and consternation such that even this floor, 8th House, was moved by a motion of urgent importance to intervene in that very worrisome situation. And when this developed, there were a lot of argument here and there whether the security services had acted rightly or wrongly, or whether the judges were as corrupt as alleged or not. And I believe, that if, like the National Assembly here is covered every day by camera, whether live or recorded, that had happened in all of those courts historically. Yes, of course, there could be fractions, but people who are learned, unlearned, and experienced would be able to know the basis upon which judgments in issue came about. And one would say emphatically that this judgment, probably for those who know, who are experts, was something that went short of expectation or that had met all expectations and should not be doubted. And because this had not been in place, we found that even the wider public were not in a position to have a very unfettered assessment of what to think, that only to believe whichever side that pushed them the more. If only for this practical example that is a living thing within our society, I think it is high time that all courts are covered and open to journalists to cover without restriction.
If we pass this bill into law, our own judges will not only be doing justice, but will be seen by the common man on television to be dispensing justice. Why, as I have said, Mr. Speaker, they are paid with the taxpayers' money. Now, if we do that, the common man will be seated in his own sitting room and see who is that judge that is being paid by taxpayers' money and adjourn cases unnecessarily. Also, Mr. Speaker, will you find who among our lawyers is prone to asking for unnecessary adjournments? Because these are things that pervert the course of justice in this country. Number two, Mr. Speaker, this bill, if it is passed into law, guesswork and rumor mongering will be stopped in our own court system. Because invariably, people who are not in the court, who did not see the way justice was dispensed, they will sit down and make commentaries both on television and on pages of newspapers. And in the places where commoners sit down, they will sit down and with rumors, people do not know and will not know why a judge took a particular decision.
The media, they have played very prominent role in our democracy. And there's nothing that can be good as being open. Open is openness. Anything that you can do in an open thing, you yourself will know is a very good thing. But anything that you want to keep to be secret, definitely, you know that is something you cannot come up to say, I've done this, I've done that. This bill is a welcome development, and I give my support to it.